The Interstellar Concert Hall on planet Vellora was a place where stars came to shine. Built with silver glass and glowing stones, the hall stood like a jewel in the center of the city. Aliens from all over the galaxy came to watch the great performances. Here and today, the biggest star was coming. Toma, the most famous human pianist in the galaxy. Toma arrived in a shining transport ship. A large crowd of humans and aliens clapped and cheered as he stepped out, wearing his bright silver coat and long scarf. He smiled, waved, and walked with pride. Reporters from different planets asked him questions. His name was known not just on Earth, but even on faraway planets like Zarnak Kriva and Loshi-9. Inside the hall, workers were preparing the stage. Lights were tested, seats were cleaned, and instruments were polished. Among the workers was Lena, a quiet woman who worked as a cleaner. She wore a plain uniform and always kept her head down. Most people didn't notice her. She cleaned the floors, dusted the piano, and left quietly every night. Lena had worked here for 5 years. She liked the peace. She loved the sound of music from the stage, though she never played anything herself. She had no lessons, no training. But sometimes when no one was watching, she would sit by the piano and press a few keys softly. It made her smile, even if only for a moment. That day, the hall was busier than ever. Toma had come for a special concert, meant to show the power of human music to alien guests. The Galactic Unity Council, a group of peaceful alien leaders, would attend. It was not just a show, it was a message. Music was not just sound. It was a bridge between worlds. Toma stood near the grand piano, surrounded by fans and alien guests. He spoke proudly. Music is a gift only humans have truly mastered. Our hands, our hearts, our emotions. No other race can feel music like we do. The alien guests smiled politely. Some agreed. Some did not. One alien, a tall creature with purple eyes and silver skin, asked, "Do all humans play like you?" Toma laughed. "Of course not. I am the best. Most humans can't even find the right keys." Everyone laughed. Toma looked around and suddenly pointed toward the back of the hall. "You there!" he called. Lena stopped. She was holding a cleaning cloth, her hands dusty. She looked up, confused. Toma grinned. "Yes, you, come here." Lena walked slowly toward the stage, unsure. The crowd turned to look at her. She felt small, nervous. She had never spoken to someone like Toma before. "What's your name?" Toma asked. "Lena," she said softly. "Well, Lena," Toma said with a teasing tone, "why don't you show our alien friends how easy it is to play?" "The piano?" The crowd laughed again. It was clearly a joke. Lena looked at the piano, then at Toma. He was smiling like it was all just fun. But something in her heart stirred. She didn't like being laughed at. She had never asked to be on stage. Still, she walked slowly to the piano. The hall grew quiet. Lena sat on the bench. Her fingers hovered above the keys. She closed her eyes. Then, she began to play. At first, it was soft. A few notes, like a whisper. Then the sound grew, flowing through the hall like a warm breeze. The notes danced, slow and gentle, then deep and full. Her hands moved as if they remembered something long forgotten. Toma stopped smiling. The alien guests sat still, wide-eyed. Some leaned forward. One alien closed his eyes and let the sound wash over him. The music felt like a story of stars being born, of Earth's first rain, of love and loss, of hope. No one knew the song. It was not in any book or archive. But everyone felt it. It was as if the music came from inside their own memories. Lena's fingers moved faster, the sound now full of emotion. It climbed higher, then slowed, soft again. Finally, she touched one last note, long, quiet, glowing. Then silence. No one moved. The hall was frozen. Toma looked around. For the first time in his life, he had no words. The aliens slowly began to clap. Not polite claps, but real ones, loud and full of wonder. A few had tears in their eyes. Even the reporters forgot their cameras. Lena stood up. She looked at Toma, who was still silent. Then she quietly walked off the stage and returned to her corner. She picked up her cloth and continued cleaning, as if nothing had happened. But everything had changed. That simple moment, a joke meant to make others laugh, had turned into something else, something powerful, something unforgettable. No one would forget Lena now. Not even Toma. For many hours after the concert, no one could stop talking about what had happened on the stage. The name Lena, once unknown, now passed through every corner of the Interstellar Concert Hall. People whispered in the halls, in the dining rooms, and in the long shining corridors. Some called her a miracle, others thought it was a trick. But everyone agreed on one thing: her music had touched something deep inside them. The great pianist Toma sat alone in his dressing room. His fingers were resting on his lap. He looked at the mirror, but not at his face. His mind was far away. He had performed in more than 100 planets, but no moment in his long career had left him so quiet. He didn't understand what happened. He had invited Lena to the stage as a joke. She was just a cleaner after all, but the joke had become something else. Her music had silenced him, and not just him, but the entire hall. A soft knock came at the door. "Come in," he said. Door opened and Bren, a music critic from the Zolari species, entered. Bren was tall and thin, with skin that shimmered like morning light. He moved gracefully, with calm eyes full of curiosity. "Toma," Bren said, "may I ask you a question?" Toma nodded. Double quotes. "What do you think of Lena's performance?" Toma was quiet. Then he spoke slowly. I think I don't know what to think." Bren smiled gently. "Neither do I, and that is why I came. I want to understand it. She played something beyond any known human music." Toma stood up and walked toward the window. The stars outside twinkled like distant candles. "She said she didn't learn music," he said. "She just played." "Exactly," said Bren. "And that's what makes it strange. I have heard thousands of songs from many worlds, but her music was different. It reached everyone in the room, no matter the species." Toma looked down. "It felt like it came from inside me, like a memory I didn't know I had." Bren nodded. "Same for me. It reached something ancient, something shared." He turned toward the door. "I plan to meet her tomorrow. I believe there is more to her story." Meanwhile, Lena sat alone on a bench outside the back of the hall. The stars above were quiet, the night cool and calm. She looked at her hands, still feeling the echo of the keys beneath her fingers. She hadn't meant to play. She hadn't even known what she was doing. But something had moved through her, like a wave. When her fingers touched the piano, it was as if the music was already there, waiting to be heard. She heard footsteps and looked up. A young worker named Doro, who sometimes helped set up the stage, approached her with a cup of warm tea. "I thought you might need this," he said, smiling shyly. "Thank you," Lena said, taking the cup. "I saw what you did," Doro said. "It was the most beautiful thing I've ever heard." Lena gave a small smile that said nothing. He sat beside her. "How did you learn to do that?" "I didn't," she said softly. "I don't even know what I played," Doro blinked. "But it felt like you've been playing forever." Lena looked at the stars. Maybe the music wasn't mine. The next day, the recording of Lena's performance spread across the galaxy. People downloaded it from Earth to distant moons on the edge of known space. Scientists, musicians, and thinkers from many planets watched the video with interest. At the Galactic Music Archive, a team of experts tried to study the song. They checked every note and pattern, comparing it with all known human music, but they found nothing. It was new, yet it felt old, ancient even. A report was sent to the Galactic Unity Council, marked High Cultural Interest. Back at the hall, Bren met with Lena in the garden beside the building. Flowers from multiple planets grew there. The sky had 3 moons. "I hope you don't mind me asking questions," Bren said kindly. "It's okay," Lena said. She wore the same uniform, though it was cleaner today. Her hands were folded in her lap. "I want to understand the song you played," Bren said. "It made me feel like I was dreaming while awake. I don't know how to explain it." Lena replied, "Sometimes when I hear music, I feel something inside, like it wants to come out." Bren studied her face. "May I ask, have you ever had dreams of music before?" Lena nodded. "Yes, since I was a child. I would hear songs in my sleep, but I could never remember them when I woke up. But when I sat at the piano yesterday, it felt like one of those songs was waiting." Bren's eyes lit up. "You may carry something ancient, Lena, something buried in human memory, a connection to something deeper." "Deeper?" she asked. "There are old stories," Bren said, "of races that sang across stars. Some believe sound can carry memory. Maybe your dreams are not just dreams." Lena looked away. "I'm just a cleaner." Bren shook his head gently. "Not anymore." In the following days, more people tried to speak with Lena. Researchers wanted to scan her brain. Journalists wanted to write about her. Musicians wanted to meet her. But she avoided them all, staying quiet, only working at night when the hall was empty. Toma, too, stayed quiet. He played the piano each night alone, trying to find that same feeling Lena had created. But he couldn't. His fingers were trained. His skills were perfect. Yet, no matter how hard he tried, the sound didn't reach the heart the way hers did. One night, he stood outside the hall and looked at the stars. "Who are you really, Lena?" he whispered, but there was no answer. Only the quiet wind, and a distant memory of music that no one could explain. The days after Lena's performance felt like a storm without sound. People from all over the galaxy kept asking about her. News channels played the recording again and again. Some called her a genius, others called her a mystery. But one question was on every mind: who was Lena? Lena, however, continued her work at the concert hall. She cleaned the same floors, dusted the same seats, and avoided the center stage where it all happened. She didn't speak much and she didn't play again, but she felt something inside her, a quiet music still moving in her heart. Every time she closed her eyes, the sound returned. It wasn't just a melody. It was a feeling, a memory, like something lost was trying to come back. One morning, a message arrived from the Galactic Music Archive, the largest music knowledge center in known space. They had tried to study the recording of her song. They ran tests on its rhythm, tones, and patterns using advanced alien machines. The result was surprising. The archive could not find any match in human or alien musical history. It was not part of Earth's classical, folk, or modern music. It also had tones not used by any alien race. The machine gave it a new label, origin unknown. The most strange part, the music had a hidden layer. Not just melody, but something more. Something that affected the mind. The scientists shared this discovery with the Galactic Unity Council. They believed Lena's music might be more than just a song. It could be a key, a code buried in sound. That same day, Bren visited Lena again. She was sweeping near the back of the hall. She looked up as he approached. "You're still working?" he asked with surprise. "I like quiet places," she said simply. Bren smiled. "There's nothing quiet about you anymore." Lena shook her head. "I didn't ask for this." "I know," Bren said. He held out a small sound crystal. "Do you remember what you played that day?" She looked at the crystal. "No, it just came to me. Would you try again?" he asked gently. Lena paused. She didn't want attention. She didn't want crowds or bright lights, but she was curious. The music still whispered inside her. That night, when the hall was empty, she sat at the piano once more. Bren stayed near the wall, holding the crystal to record. Lena closed her eyes. Her fingers moved without thought. This time, the song was different. Not the same as before, but just as deep. It rose and fell like waves full of light and shadow. Bren stood still, not moving, not breathing. When she finished, the room was silent. Bren pressed a button on the crystal. It blinked once, and then, to their surprise, projected something. A soft light filled the air. A shape appeared, a symbol made of lines and dots slowly spinning in front of them. "What is that?" Lena asked. "I don't know," Bren sighed, his voice shaking. "But this isn't just music. It's a message." The next day, Bren took the crystal to the Galactic Science Circle, a group of top minds from many species. They ran deep scans and found that the symbol matched. Part of an old signal found hundreds of years ago. The signal was sent from deep space and was never understood. It was thought to be from a lost race called the Etheron, believed to have disappeared 1 million years ago. The scientists were shocked. Lena's music had unlocked a part of that forgotten message. One of the oldest members of the circle, a wise being named Taval, said quietly, "She has awakened the sleeping language." "How?" someone asked. Taval looked around the room. "Some things are carried in the soul, not taught, not learned. Passed from the stars to the heart." Back at the concert hall, Toma watched the news with a hard face. Each screen talked about Lena, not him. For years, Toma had been the symbol of human art. He played in front of kings, councils, and creatures older than Earth. But now, his name was second. He couldn't understand how a simple woman with no training had reached where he could not. He remembered the day he joked with her. How easy it had been. A small laugh, a light moment. Now the laugh had become silence. Toma stood up and walked to the piano. He played one of his best songs. The melody was smooth, the timing perfect. He had played it hundreds of times. Yet, when he finished, the air felt empty. The sound was beautiful, but it had no message. He rested his hands on the keys. For the first time in his life, he felt like a student again. 3 days later, a new message arrived from the Galactic Unity Council. They asked Lena to come and perform at the next peace assembly, where leaders from many galaxies met to share knowledge and ideas. Lena didn't know what to say. "I'm just a cleaner," she said again. But Doro, her friend, smiled at her and replied, "Not anymore." She looked at her hands. The music inside her was no longer quiet. It was growing, asking to be heard again. That night, as the stars shone above the city, Lena stood by the window of her small room. She looked up and whispered to the sky, "Where did you come from?" The stars said nothing, but somewhere, deep in the universe, something ancient listened, something that remembered. The peace assembly was held once every 5 years on Neora, a calm planet with soft skies and floating gardens. Leaders and thinkers from many worlds came together there, not for war, not for politics, but for understanding, learning, and peace. This year, the assembly felt different. Everyone had heard about Lena, the quiet woman who had played a song that unlocked an ancient alien message. Many delegates requested her performance. Even those who had never cared about music now wanted to hear her. Some believed she might be connected to the Etheron, a race so old that even history books held only rumors about them. Lena sat inside the silver transport ship taking her to Neora. She had never left her planet before. The stars outside the window blinked slowly, like soft lights in the dark. Her hands rested on her lap, fingers still and silent. But inside, the music still moved. Beside her sat Bren, the Zolari music critic. He had now become something like a guide, or maybe a friend. He saw her not as a star, but as someone carrying a mystery. "Are you ready?" he asked gently. Lena looked at him and gave a small nod. "I'm not sure what I'm ready for," he smiled. "That's all right. The music will speak." When they landed on Neora, A group of tall beings with long robes welcomed her. They guided Lena and Bren to a quiet place filled with flowers and floating light stones. It was peaceful. No loud voices, no cameras. Just wind, water, and light. Lena was taken to a special center called the Unity Resonance Lab. It was not just a research place. It was where science met music, where sound and thought were studied together. Inside, a group of human and alien scientists waited. One of them, a soft-spoken woman named Dr. Mila, smiled kindly. "Lena, we won't harm you. We just want to understand your gift. We believe it may connect to something very old." Lena nodded silently. They placed a soft headband on her, filled with light sensors. She was told to sit in front of a special piano, the harmonic keyframe, a rare instrument that could record not only notes, but emotions, thoughts, and energy patterns. "Play whatever you feel," Dr. Mila said. Lena closed her eyes. Her fingers began to move. At once, the air changed. The scientist stood still. Lights around the piano began to glow. The sensors blinked in strange patterns. The walls, made of reflective crystal, began to shimmer. And then, something new happened. The air filled with images, not pictures, but memories. Glimpses of ancient cities, floating temples, stars being born, and tall beings made of light. Dark Mila whispered, "It's a memory stream. From the Etheron." The music grew deeper. More images appeared. 2 Etheron beings standing by a stargate. A child holding a glowing object. A great migration into the stars. Tears filled Bren's eyes. She's not just playing music. She's unlocking history. When Lena stopped, the room stayed silent for a long moment. The scientists removed the sensors and began checking the data. The patterns in Lena's brain matched ancient Etheron signal frequencies, once recorded by deep space explorers. "She's a living receiver," Dr. Mela said softly. "Somehow her mind holds their echo." Bren looked at Lena. "You're carrying something that was waiting to be heard." A song trapped in time. Lena felt quiet inside. She didn't fully understand what was happening, but she knew one thing: this gift, this music, was not only hers. It belonged to something greater. Something far beyond Earth. That evening, the peace assembly performance took place. A large, open hall sat beneath a transparent sky. Stars twinkled above, and hundreds of alien leaders filled the seats. There was no stage, just a round space. With a single piano made of shining blue crystal, Lena stepped into the center. She wore a simple white dress, nothing fancy. But all eyes were on her. Toma was there too, sitting in the front row. He had come not to compete, but to understand. After days of silence, he had started to listen again, not just with ears, but with his heart. Lena sat down at the piano. She took a deep breath, and then she played. This time, the music was like the sky itself, wide, endless, full of wonder. Notes rose like stars, then softened like clouds. Each sound touched a memory inside every listener. Some saw dreams from their childhood. Some felt the hand of someone they once loved. Some saw distant homes they had left behind, even the coldest. Leaders sat still, their eyes filled with light. The music wasn't loud. It wasn't showy, but it was true. And when Lena played the final note, a sound so soft it could barely be heard, the entire hall stood up. There was no cheering, no noise, just quiet, deep, respectful silence. After the performance, the Galactic Unity Council invited Lena to a private chamber. There, they showed her something unexpected, a round stone, floating in the air. It had ancient symbols carved into it. No one had been able to read them for 1,000 years. But when Lena approached it, the stone began to glow. The symbols shifted. Then, they changed into soft musical notes, her own. Gasps filled the room. Dr. Mila spoke in awe. This stone was left by the Etheron, and it responds to you." Lena touched the stone gently. A voice, like wind and light, filled the room. A message in an old human language. To the one who remembers not with mind, but with soul, you are the bridge. Through your hands our memory lives. Bren stepped back, eyes wide. You're not just a musician, Lena. You're the key to a forgotten world. Later that night, Lena sat alone, looking at the stars. Toma quietly walked over and sat beside her. I came to make people feel, he said, but I forgot to listen. Lena smiled softly. I didn't mean to do any of this. He looked at her. Maybe that's why you were the one to do it. They sat in silence, side by side, under the stars. Somewhere deep in space, the music of the past began to rise again, through her, through them, and through a galaxy that would never be the same. The floating stone that responded to Lena's music was taken to the Star Memory Chamber, a special place deep under the Galactic Unity Center. Only a few were allowed inside. It was where the galaxy's oldest secrets were kept. Some of these secrets had never been unlocked. Until now. Lena stood quietly in the center of the chamber. Around her were tall machines, glowing gently, waiting. The round stone she had touched earlier floated once more, softly spinning. The light inside it pulsed like a heartbeat. Beside Lena stood Dr. Mila, Bren, and 2 council members from distant planets. Everyone's eyes were on her. Are you ready? Dr. Mila asked. Lena gave a quiet nod. She stepped toward the piano again. This time a smaller version built inside the chamber. It was not made of wood or crystal, but a strange silver metal that shimmered with light. She sat down. The moment her fingers touched the keys, something changed. The walls of the chamber lit up one by one. Symbols appeared, ancient ones that had never been read. Sounds echoed through the room, not from the piano, but from the air itself. It was as if the music was waking something that had been asleep for thousands of years. The stone glowed brighter. A line of golden light extended from it to the piano. Then from the piano to Lena. A soft hum filled the space. Dr. Mila gasped. It's syncing. She's activating it. What is it doing? Bren asked. The stone is part of an old system, Mila said. It was waiting for a human connection, a musical key to unlock it. Suddenly, a holographic screen appeared. In the air, a voice, soft, old, and wise, spoke in a language that slowly turned into words they could all understand. The Ethron left behind a path, a way to guide those who come after. Our voices sleep inside sound. Only the one who feels, not learns, can wake us. Bren whispered, she's not just unlocking memory. She's unlocking their technology. News of the awakening spread fast. Every world connected to the Galactic Unity Council heard it. Soon, teams of scientists and historians arrived on Nyora. They didn't come to study Lena. They came to learn from her. She was no longer just a cleaner or even a mystery. She was now being called the voice of the echo, the first person in recorded history who could activate Etheron systems with music. More tests were run. Lena allowed them to scan her brain gently, only with her permission. The results were strange. Her brain waves changed when she played music. They moved in a pattern that was not random. It matched the exact rhythm of the old Etheron signal. Discovered years ago in deep space. She is the key, Dr. Mila said again. Her music matches the code. She's not just playing songs. She's opening doors. On the 4th day after the awakening, a team took Lena and the stone to a hidden site on the moon Voraxdu. It was a quiet, rocky place with old ruins, believed to be abandoned. The site had been studied for over 100 years. It had strange buildings and symbols, but no one could make sense of them. It was thought to be the last known place the Etheron had visited before disappearing. The team believed Lena's music might work there too. Lena stood near the ruins, looking at the strange stone gates built into the hills. The wind was cold. Stars above blinked silently. She sat on a portable piano placed near the gate. Her hands were cold, but steady. She began to play. This song was different again. It started slowly, then rose like a mountain of sound. Her fingers seemed to know where to go, though she had never learned it. She let the music flow through her, soft and strong at the same time. Then the ground trembled, a line of blue. Light ran across the stones. The gate lit up. Symbols began to shift and glow. A soft humming filled the air. It was not dangerous. It felt alive. The gate opened, not physically, but as a shimmer, like light through water. A glowing path stretched forward into the darkness. Everyone stood still. "It's a vault," said Bren. "An Ethran memory vault." Inside they found archives, not books or machines, but crystal pillars that sang when touched. The pillars played pieces of sound, stories, knowledge, and messages. The Etheron had stored everything in sound waves. Knowing only someone with the right music could unlock it, Lena walked through the vault slowly, listening to each sound. When she touched one of the main pillars, it began to sing a familiar melody, her own. "This music was already here," she said quietly. "Before I was born." Dr. Mila looked at her. "That means it was waiting for you. Or for someone like you." Lena stood still. She didn't feel afraid. She felt peaceful, as if her life had always been leading to this. Not fame, not praise, but connection. She was the bridge between past and present, between human emotion and ancient alien knowledge. Back on Earth, people watched her story with wonder. Even Toma, once proud and jealous, sat alone in his home, re-watching her performances. This time, he didn't feel anger. He felt hope. He went to his piano and began to play, not to impress, but to feel. For the first time in years, the music felt real again. He whispered, "Thank you, Lena." Later, Lena returned to the hall where everything began. It looked the same. But now, people bowed their heads when they passed her. Some tried to thank her. Others just watched her with silent respect. She didn't want to be a star. She didn't want to be famous. She only wanted to keep listening to the music inside her and help others listen too. At night, when the hall was quiet and the stars glowed above, Lena sat by the piano once more. She closed her eyes, and the universe listened. In the weeks after Lena unlocked the Etheron vault, her name was spoken across every planet that followed human music and science. Some people called her a hero. Others said she was a miracle. Still, Lena remained quiet, simple, and kind. She never asked for attention. She only played when it felt right. But not everyone was happy. Toma, once known as the greatest human pianist in the galaxy, felt something burning inside him. It wasn't anger at Lena, not anymore. It was something else: confusion, sadness, and something close to fear. He had spent his whole life learning music. He practiced for years, traveled to many planets, and earned fame by showing human talent to the stars. But now, people no longer spoke about his perfect performances. They spoke about Lena's strange music that came from dreams and feelings. Toma walked through the empty halls of his music academy one night. The sound of his footsteps echoed. He looked at the walls, covered with awards and photos from his performances. Once, these filled him with pride. Now they felt distant, almost hollow. He sat at the piano. His fingers moved quickly, each note clean and clear. But when he finished, the silence after the music didn't feel full. It felt empty. He rested his hands and stared at the keys. Why does her music touch hearts more than mine? He whispered. Later that week, Toma received an invitation from the Galactic Unity Council. They wanted him to attend a special performance, where both he and Lena would play in front of alien leaders and artists. It would not be a competition, but a celebration of human music. Still, Toma felt unsure. He walked out into the city and looked at a large public screen showing Lena's latest peaceful concert. She played under a silver sky, surrounded by beings from 10 different species. When she finished, many had tears in their eyes. Toma sighed. I have to understand her. Music, he said quietly, even if it means accepting that it is something I cannot learn. The concert day arrived. The event was held in a new open-air hall on Zavira Prime, a planet known for its beauty and peaceful culture. The audience was made up of musicians, teachers, historians, and alien thinkers. Many of them had studied both Tama's works and Lena's music over the past month. The stage was simple, two pianos facing each other, with a glowing crystal tree in the middle. This tree, called the Tree of Soundlight, showed colors that matched the emotions in music. It had never been used in a human concert before. Toma arrived first. He wore a soft blue coat and walked with calm steps. His heart beat fast, but he kept his head high. Soon after, Lena entered, wearing a plain dress and a small smile. She greeted him gently. "I'm glad you came," she said. Toma nodded. "I came to listen and to learn." They took their seats. The hall grew quiet. Toma played first. His fingers danced across the keys with perfect skill. The sound was strong, emotional, and full of beauty. The Tree of Soundlight glowed deep blue, then shifted to golden light. Some in the crowd closed their eyes, enjoying every note. When he finished, the audience clapped with deep respect. Then it was Lena's turn. She sat for a moment in silence. Her eyes closed. Then her hands touched the keys. The music began softly, like rain falling on old stone. It grew slowly, like a flower opening to the sun. The Tree of Soundlight began to glow in ways never seen before. Not just one color, but many at once: purple, silver, green, and a strange soft pink that touched the edge of the sky. The music moved through the hearts of everyone. It reminded them of home, of love, of moments they had lost. Some felt joy. Others felt peace. A few began to cry quietly, without shame. Even Toma felt it. When Lena finished, the hall remained silent. Not because they didn't want to clap, but because clapping felt too loud. Too small. Then slowly, the entire hall stood and bowed to both of them. Later that night, as the stars glowed above Zavira Prime, Toma and Lena sat near a quiet lake behind the concert hall. "I understand now," Toma said. "What do you understand?" Lena asked kindly. "Why your music touches people more than mine. I always played to be the best. You play to share something honest." Lena smiled gently. "I don't even know where the music comes from. I just close my eyes and let it speak. That's what makes it real," Toma said. He looked out at the water. "I thought I had lost everything. But hearing your music helped me feel again. Not as a performer, but as a person." "You didn't lose anything, Toma," Lena said softly. "You just found a new way to listen." The next morning, the council made a quiet announcement. They invited both Lena and Toma to become part of the new Galactic Harmony Project, a team made up of human and alien musicians who would travel to forgotten planets, using music to awaken lost knowledge, help with healing, and build peace between species. Lena accepted gently. Toma accepted with a smile. From that day on, the two traveled together, often not as rivals, but as companions in sound. They played side by side, one through the heart, the other through deep skill. Together, their music became something new, a balance of memory and mastery, of feeling and form. The galaxy listened. And slowly, it began to heal. The Galactic Harmony Project was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Musicians and artists from many planets joined together, not for fame or fortune, but to share music as a language of peace. Lena and Toma became the heart of this movement. They traveled to planets that had long been silent, places where old wars or disasters had left scars, not just on the land but on the people's hearts. Their music was a bridge. It helped heal, to remind beings that they were not alone. One day, their ship landed on a quiet planet called Jalara. The sky was pink and soft, with two suns resting low on the horizon. The cities were empty and silent. It was a place where music had been forgotten. Lena and Toma stepped out, carrying only their instruments and a hope that sound could bring life back. A small group of Jalaran children approached. They had never heard music before. They watched. Lena's fingers touched the keys with wonder. Toma smiled and nodded at them. Lena began to play a simple melody, soft and clear like a stream of water. Toma joined her with gentle chords, building the song slowly. The children listened, their faces lighting up with joy. Others nearby began to gather, drawn by the sound. The music grew. It told a story of stars, of friends meeting after long times apart, of light overcoming darkness. As they played, the silent city began to change. Windows that were dusty began to shine. Plants around the streets started to bloom. The old stones hummed with life. Jalara was waking up. After the concert, the elders of Jalara thanked Lena and Toma. "You have brought back something lost," one said. "Not just music, but hope," Lena smiled. "Music is a gift for everyone. It connects us, no matter where we come from," Toma nodded. "And when we listen, we learn more than words can say." The two friends continued their journey, playing on planets with frozen oceans, deserts of red sand, and cities hidden in thick forests. Everywhere they went, their music carried a message that even in the darkest times, light can be found through connection. They taught others to listen, to feel, and to share. Slowly, the galaxy began to change. One night, as they traveled through space, Lena looked out the window of their ship. The stars stretched endlessly, like a great ocean of light. Toma sat beside her, playing soft notes on his small keyboard. "I never thought music could be so powerful," he said. Lena smiled. "It was always powerful. We just needed to listen with our hearts." Toma looked at her. "You taught me that." She laughed softly. Years passed. Lena and Toma became legends not because of fame, but because they helped a galaxy remember its soul. Their story was told in songs, in books, and in quiet moments when someone played a note that touched their heart. And in the silence between stars, the music of the Etheron, carried by Lena's hands and Toma's skill, continued to grow. It was a song of hope, a song of unity, a song that would never end.